Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of The Grandstand here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm, as always, your host, AR the Ohio Patriot. And for today's episode, we're going to talk about a very, very familiar topic to this channel, which is, unfortunately, it always comes back to literal fucking predators in our society. Whether it just be creepy fucks, whether it be actual pedo enablers, whether it be actual pedophiles for that matter, etc., etc. And basically, I was on Twitter/X here a little bit ago, is what it was, and I don't know how some of these things come up in my feed. Like, I don't know if it's just like their algorithm's just fucking with me because I'm like doing the grandstand here, and they like know my shit goes directly back to the Twitter X feed or whatever it is there. And so they're almost like I almost wonder if it's not like AI like fucking with me kind of thing is what it is, where like they'll bring these stories to my attention kind of thing is whatever it is, because I'm going to cover the shit later on, so it'll be then. But yeah, it's just really weird. But anyway, there was this random woman that came up into my feed who I guess is a one of the pay people there. She calls herself go ahead and just pull it up here real quick. K Carillion goes by the hashtag authentic turf, which obviously is a trans exclusive radical feminist, I believe, which anybody that calls themselves that anyway is just a fucking idiot, basically. It's just like throw from his fucking retarded entirely, dude. But yeah, so basically she was talking about, there's this video, the guy that was shown there, which I'm going to show this guy's face again here in a minute, is supposedly a dentist out of the state of Texas who gives, like, he's basically just a regular, like, sort of like strip mall dentist, as far as I understand is what it would be then, from the little bit I've looked into it, is what it is there, which is not much. It's maybe like a couple videos that she's shared and posted and stuff like that is what it was. But yeah, I guess this guy's like some kind of dentist there is what it is in Texas, and he will either give people who have really fucked up teeth the money to get braces, like he did with the young girl in this video, which obviously not going to show her in the video because, you know, YouTube algorithms and shit like that, and don't get channel strike and everything else like that. But yeah, so basically, there was a 14-year-old girl that he was trying to give braces to, and as he was saying there, like in the self little part of the video, he's like, yeah, this girl's teeth are totally fucked. Like, she because he was saying about like how the way they are, because like she has ones that are like up into like her gum area and stuff like that. And you know, it's sad that sometimes people's teeth do grow like that. Honestly, they don't grow straight; they grow like all jacked up or whatever the case be. And it's almost like natural meth mouth, I guess is what I call it, honestly, because you know, obviously, if you're one of these adults that do a bunch of methamphetamines and stuff like that, your teeth will be all fucked up and like, you know, worn down and everything else like that. You have pictures of Hunter Biden out there, for God's sakes, that show that. And that's why you have to basically get all your teeth yanked then and then eventually replaced with some kind of dentures would be then. And the thing is, that's kind of almost what this girl looked like, is what it is there. And of course, her mom was one of these working poor mothers. I'm assuming her father's nowhere to be found in the situation. Probably fatherless home is my guess, unless a single mother household, whatever we call it there. Or maybe dad is working. Maybe he was actually at work and mom was able to take her to the dentist there is what it is. But because, you know, they're so poor and they're like working poor, basically, they can't afford the you know, the braces and stuff like that. So basically that rest of that video was that doctor guy was like, oh yeah, I'll pay for your braces. You know, just, you know, make sure that you, essentially what he was asking her in the video was like, oh, you know, like who, like are the girls treating you like shit? Are you like in the boys, whatever the case be? And she's like, yeah, the guys don't look at me because you know, the mouth and stuff like that. Because she, like, the girl herself, you know, like, obviously she was a cute teenage girl, honestly. And, you know, like like, without her fucked up teeth, like, she'd be probably, you know, what any teenage boy would want, honestly, is what it is, dude. The entire point of the matter is, though, is like, the whole issue is you have this dude who's basically willing to pay for her braces, what it is, because like he says in that video, she's not a candidate for Invisalign and stuff like that's what it is there. And that Twitter account, X account, whatever you call it there, of that turf chick or whatever it is there, was all like, oh, so many people don't see this guy's creep factor. It's like, Well, in that case, the girl's mom was like 2 feet away from her in that situation. Like, there's not really much like creepiness here, if you want to call it that, even. And, you know, honestly, it seemed just like a regular guy just being like, hey, you know, I'm going to do something nice for somebody and like kind of sort of pay it forward, is what it sounded like, honestly. But then I guess there's like other videos that have come out now where there's other females, because I guess his particular like dentistry thing or whatever, he'll like quote unquote audition some of these people for like free dentistry is what it is or whatever. And now, mind you, every other person that is in the other videos is all females above the age of 18. So it'd be consenting adults at that point is what it would be. And now I guess potentially he's been like sort of creeping on some of these, you know, actual adult females is what it is there. And now you have the state of Texas opening investigation into his dental practice and everything else like that. So it's like, I don't know, man. Like, we'll wait to see what comes of it, honestly. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if something did come of it, honestly, just because of the fact there is so many of these fucking people coming out of work anymore. But at the same time, it's like, the real problem I have with half of the shit in our society right now, it does go back to the Me Too bullshit, honestly, dude. The whole pound Me Too thing is what it is. Where you had, you know, 1 or 2 women who were legitimately victimized by a piece of shit like Harvey Weinstein, etc. there. But then you had like 100 fucking females come out of the woodwork because they all wanted a fucking payday is what it is. And that's the real problem entirely, dude. Is it's the same thing we see over and over again with professional athletes all the time, where you have like specifically actually one of the biggest scandals in the last like 5 to 6 years, honestly, when it comes to like pro ball and stuff, was Ezekiel Elliott from Ohio State, which the only reason I know about that guy is because he was, you know, Ohio State is what it is. And mom loves fucking Ohio State is what it is, honestly. So I'm basically forced to sit here and watch Ohio State games when they come on. It's what it is. I could really give a fuck less either way, honestly. But yeah, so Zeke was basically, you know, at Ohio State for I think it was 5 years or whatever the case be, and then he went into pros. And sometime between the time he left Ohio State and the time he went into the draft is what it was there, you had this fucking female come out of the woodwork and was like, oh, this dude totally abused me and sexually assaulted me and blah, blah, blah this and blah, blah, blah that. Yet, meanwhile, after an investigation was actually opened in the situation, you had it turn out that she had a bunch of text messages with a friend of hers where her friend was basically telling her, hey, you can get a fucking huge payday off this dude, just lie. And so she basically lied, made a bunch of shit about this whole thing, just to fuck with Zeke's life is what it was, dude, which is absolutely totally fucked up, honestly, entirely. But that's the problem. When you push forward this victimhood mentality where, oh my God, you're such a victim, everybody's a victim, all this other bullshit, victimhood mentality, leftist crap is what it is, dude. Then you're basically creating your own worst enemy. You're creating something out of nothing in many cases. So unfortunately, when you have real cases, which is what this Texas one may in fact be, honestly, like I'm not going to discount that for not being that thing, because it very well could be this thing where this dude's a piece of shit, honestly. And honestly, the thing is, like, going back to this woman's thing and to the technical screenshot of this dude we have right there, like, this guy right here looks like about half the guys I've actually seen get caught in random sex stings here in Ohio is what it is whenever they do, like, an operation, whatever here is what it is, like, Yost and shit. It's that kind of fucking guy, like, the sort of almost, like, clean-cut, like, fatherly type or whatever the case be, that's going to get busted in this shit, dude, whether it be soliciting prostitution, whether it be soliciting fucking minors, for that matter. So it's very possible that something actually does come in this whole thing. Like, hell, how many people really truly thought Larry Nassar, the guy who was the fucking treating physician for the female gymnastics team for the Olympics, was going to be a creepy piece of shit? I mean, seriously, like, I saw that fucking guy the first time, and I'm just like, this dude looks like a fucking predator, because I've never seen the guy until then, till like the court appearances or whatever it was, dude. And I'm like, oh yeah, that guy was definitely a fucking predator in the making, dude. Like, I can see that shit from a fucking mile away. And like I said, with this other guy here, whose name I can't even recall what the hell this guy's name is, honestly. I just know he does, let me see if I can find the other. They should have put the other videos in this one is what it is. So, but yeah, as this account was saying, they said, took her 10 minutes to conclude that men, some fathers, as well as some women, do not have significant creep detection skills. Said posted a video about dentist consulting a 14-year-old girl, asked for a vibe check. Many responses being that there was nothing wrong with his actions or behavior. Man has a huge record of abusing women, supposedly. or allegedly anyway. I gotta say that obviously because I don't think he's been convicted of any of the shit. He is what it is. And then they said I could see it from the video I shared. Investigating, creep confirmed, basically is what they said there. And the thing is, I'm not going to sit there and deny that, like, you're not speaking the truth or whatever, because, I mean, the guy looks like he could be a fucking creeper, honestly. But then again, he could also just be some fucking dude, honestly. You know? And that's the problem right there, right? So, yeah. I feel like there's a lot of issues in general is what it is, dude. And it's like, you know, like, sometimes people can see it, sometimes people can't see it. And then there's obviously, you know, like, there's a reason that this guy's whole dentistry practice right now is being investigated by the state of Texas, is what it is, by their, like, Board of Health or whatever it is there. And I'm not sure if it's the actual Attorney General or not. That would be obviously Ken Paxton at this point is doing it too or not. But it's like some part of Texas administrative government that's doing something there with the guy. So, like I said, I don't know if something's going to come of this or not, but I think it's very interesting, though. And my whole thing is, it's like, you know, I believe honestly, and it's something that NEA brought up recently about this whole situation, where there's been this weird psycho shift basically in our society, really since Obama's administration is where I'm going to call it. So it'd be roughly around like the 2010s, like around 2010, give or take. So about 13 years or so, give or take now. And it really it really started to ramp up during Trump's administration to where now it's basically just open, is what it is with these leftist dude, where, you know, they'll sit there and call themselves maps and shit like that, which is just an alternative for pedophile, basically. And, you know, basically just be openly creeping on children is what it is, dude. And then you have other people, as NEA brought up the fact, he was like, you know, left-right thing is what it is. Like, you got the left openly doing this shit. And then you got people on the right who might be doing it too, but they're smart enough to realize, like, yeah, I'm not going to fucking out myself as like some sicko is what it is, honestly. And that's why you have many people in our federal government currently that I believe truthfully are definitely rhinos in the fucking every way, shape, and form that are 100% child molesters. And of course, they're hiding it well enough, whereas Democrats are just like, nope, doesn't matter. Let's fucking just do it openly, is what it is, dude. And that's why and what's even more fucked up, by the way, is I believe, honestly, the whole push by the Democrat Party at this point, that sort of, we've already led to the slippery slope thing about, you know, the whole gay marriage now leads to all this transgenderism and sexual shit and age of consent stuff and everything else like that now. I believe, truthfully, the way that Democrats are trying to push the whole, like, 16-year-olds to vote kind of thing is what it is. I think that's actually a twofold thing right now. The first fold of it would obviously be you have a very uninformed voting populace you're trying to bring into the fold, so 16 and 17-year-olds both at that point, because even at 18, they're still dumb as fuck is what it is. But then you have them like 2 years earlier, and they're even more indoctrinated potentially into the bullshit within these school systems then, so that it's just like, you know, in one ear, taking over the fucking brain, out the other side, you know, parasite, fucking brain go bye-bye kind of thing is what it is. And like the parasite's taking over the actual, what was left of the fucking inside is what it is there. And so they're going to vote like leftist shit, but into places would it be then. So that would basically be stage one. Stage two, I believe, truthfully, is to then have those kids themselves being so indoctrinated into the activist bullshit, the leftist mindset, everything else like that, would be to get them as a voting bloc to actually lower age of consent laws, like a lot. And it would not surprise me at all, dude, if that was the Democrats' entire endgame right now. Because like I've said before, and actually this is something I saw recently, I forget who shared it on X the other day, but it was basically some chick who, it was some dude's TikTok or whatever, where this guy was saying exactly what I've been saying on this channel for like the last 2 years or so now, which is, we are fighting demonic evil, dude. Like, we are literally in a battle of good versus legitimate demonic evil, where people are finally starting to wake up to this fact. Like, I don't know if they're waking up to the fact that we're like fighting like actual demons that are possessing human beings at this point or not, but I know we're waking up to the fact that we're fighting like actual demonic evil now is what it is. So, yeah, and I think that's really what it comes down to being, honestly, dude. You have these people who, in order to get their demonic strength, their demonic, pushes, everything else like that, the rituals, all that stuff like that, what do they do? What do they target? Who do they target? They target the most vulnerable among us, which are mostly almost all the time children. And it's by design. There's a reason why, thousands of years ago, you would have these various crazy ass tribes sacrifice kids to fucking some god or whatever it was, dude. Because it was that pure innocence you were sacrificing to some fucking higher being or whatever. And ultimately it was for power. And I feel like that's exactly what it is nowadays. It's nothing more than power. It's nothing more than control, strength, etc. And it's exactly why you have these people that will continue to attack gun rights in this country so much. And they will continue to do all kinds of shady shit for that matter. Actually, I do want to bring something up now because I was going to bring up during Freedom Friday's chat, but I decided to bring up now, actually. There was actually an update to that story I talked about with Corey on the Buckshot Thursday chat about the dude here in Columbus that was killed by those 3 black kids. And it turns out the only reason that the 3 of those fuckers were stopped and he was actually found when he was found was because of a good Samaritan who, shocker, had a fucking gun. Had Donnie Smith himself also been armed that day, he'd probably still be alive. He'd probably still be there for his children this Christmas. Unfortunately, he's not, because he was not armed that day. And he basically got into a fight with 3 younger, stronger dudes who gang attacked him, literally laughed as they kicked and stomped him to death. And yet the state of Ohio only has lethal injection for the death penalty? What the fuck, man? It's a bunch of shit entirely. I'm so fucking over it, man. I really am. But anyway, going back to this whole thing with this possible creeper dentist guy is what it is there. As the woman brought up there, she was saying how he creeped on a bunch of like actual, adult females is what it seems like, and possibly sexually abused them or something. I don't know. Did they even say? I'm trying to go back on that now. Let's see. Okay, here you go. It said, man has huge record of abusing women. You can see it in other videos that were shared. Yeah, exactly. Okay, and they were right about that. There was that longer video. It was like 7-8 minutes, whatever the case be, where it was like a bunch of various chicks talking about quote unquote like auditions to get dental care or whatever the case be. Because I think what it is this guy's supposed to be like an in-demand dentist or something like that because of his like quote unquote charitable stuff is what it is there. So I don't know. I mean, there's obviously a reason that the state of Texas, the government, various boards and stuff like that are looking into this guy's practice now is what it is. And like I said, if they find something, okay, we'll do an update to that if that be the case. And we'll, be like, oh yeah, this guy is a pedophile. Like, I'm not saying he's not right now, honestly, dude. I mean, well, I don't know about pedophile anyway, but like, obviously he would be definitely a sexual assaulter or rapist potentially is what it is. Because obviously, like I said, all the women that he would be, potentially abusing would be, as far as I'm aware, at least in that other video, were all over the age of 18 is what it is. So it might just be like a Harvey Weinstein kind of Me Too thing is what it would be then. But yeah, and that's the problem right now. It's unfortunately, it seems like everybody in our society has some kind of agenda anymore, and I'm just kind of sick of it, man. Honestly, like. I don't know. I wish I could just turn everything off for like a couple of days and just like I don't know, maybe just like rip Van Winkle for like 4 days or something like that. Just like snap my fingers, go to bed for like 4 or 5 days or something like that, and wake up to like a better world. Basically, is the way I would look at it right now. Because the thing of it is, like, and I've said this many times with my own family. I got a niece who's not even 10 years old yet, dude. She'll be going on 10 right now. Next year is what it is. And I look at what she's coming up into right now, and it scares the shit out of me as an uncle. Honestly, it really does. And it's not things I want to see in her life. And that's the thing. Like, I'm trying to protect her as much as possible. I'm trying to protect her brother as much as possible right now. But obviously, he's, closer to the 18 mark than she is, obviously, right now. He's pretty close to that, actually. I think he's only got about, I think it's less than a year before he turns 18 right now. So, yeah. He's a good kid, though. I think he has his head on straight anyway. He's not going to fall for a lot of that stupid bullshit is what it is. But yeah, like unfortunately, she is in that vulnerable age range right now for all this crap, dude. For the indoctrination pushes, for the fucking, the creepy ass pedo fucking enablers and pedos, etc. in her life and shit like that. It would be, man, as the fucking teachers and stuff. So, or if they're not pushing that shit, it's them pushing the fucking racial division shit with like the fucking CRT, critical race theory crap, or whether it be that DEI, the diversity, equity, inclusion, and garbage is what it is now. Which, Jesus fucking Christ, I saw one last night where you had, I don't know if these people are supposed to be like Native American people or exactly what the fuck they are, but it was basically this woman, and I'm gonna go see if I can find it real quick here now. Because I do want to discuss this for a hot minute real quick then. So anyway, damn it, where did it go now? Oh, this is also something I want to talk about too while I'm here. So you had some dude over in Europe who was an economic migrant. I mentioned this many times as well when it comes to the whole like so-called refugee BS into America and every other, white European nation in this country is what it is. It's all BS, dude. Unless you were fleeing someplace like fucking South Africa because you're literally going to be killed for being white, basically, you're not a fucking refugee in any country, dude, that you're walking into. You are almost 100% of the time an economic migrant. You are trying to literally better your life with fucking free handouts in the country you're going into, bar none. And almost always is some kind of fighting age male too, by the way, which is exactly what this fucking asshole was talking about right here over in Europe. Says, French natives work for me. They are my slaves. I receive 600 euros from RSA. I'm guessing that's like a housing authority or whatever the case be. 300 euros from local mission. 350 from the APL, and social workers pay me for electricity and gas, says cultural enricher. Like, what a fucking joke, dude. So this motherfucker, it walked into Europe illegally, is what it is illegally squatting on their soil, committing a foreign invasion in the process, not just him, but everybody else with him is what it is there. And is literally bragging about getting over $1,250 a fucking month to fuck over that country. And people wonder why I'm pissed here in America where these fuckers are walking through my goddamn border every fucking day, man. Like, it fucking pisses me off, dude. It's just so disgusting in general is what it is, man. So, anyway. Actually, one of the best ones that I remember was I'm just gonna pause this video and I'm gonna show this dude because I'm not gonna show the video obviously because it shows other stuff and is what it is. But I don't know if you guys remember this crazy motherfucker from back. I think this was before the BLM riots happened in 2020. It was like 2018, 2019, someplace in there. And he was basically telling the cops like, "Arrest me, arrest me." And then this one cop just pulls out a bottle of OC and just fucking douses this dude. And he looks like fucking like Trump orange when he's all said and done. And then he obviously like gets tossed to the ground by like 10 cops and arrested and like hauled off by like 4 cops is what it is then. I think he was doing some other shady shit there is what it was too though. Like I'm pretty sure he was doing like threatening people on the sidewalks and stuff is what it was that night or whatever. And that's what actually led to the cops like, confronting him and then him, trying to get in their faces and then them, OCing him in the face and taking him down and slapping the cuffs on then. But yeah, and again, that's the problem. It's crazy motherfuckers like that want to start some shit is what it is, dude. And it's like, dude, if you really want to start some shit, go join the fucking military. Like, we're starting shit in every country all the fucking time, bro. Like, you can just go over to some other nation and fucking start some shit over there is what it is, man. And be working for the betterment of this country in the process, you know what I'm saying? So, I think that's the problem, though. They don't want to actually do that, man. They don't want to actually put in the work is what it is there. So, but actually, this one was really fucked up, and this goes back to Jeff and James Younger, the guys I talked about before. It was the father whose piece of shit ex-wife took his son and tried to turn him into Luna. So apparently, according to what was said here, So this is crazy. U.S. government is getting paid to break up families. Supposedly in the state of Texas, you get paid $50K per child. So, and this is from Jeff Younger there. He said there is a massive federal programs that were instituted in the late 70s to pay states trillions of dollars to tear families apart. Like in Texas, you get 66 cents on the dollar put into the Texas Treasury for every dollar of child support that's paid. That makes sense, actually. Says, so the state is now highly incentivized to issue the maximum amount of child support. Almost all divorces get 50-50 prior to the 19th. Got 50-50 prior to 1980s. So there was the skyrocketing of divorces where one parent loses custody, and that was to maximize Title IV-D reimbursements to the states. The state is profiting off child support, correct? I think this was between Tim and Jeff Younger is what it was there. Said in most states, the Judicial Retirement Fund is funded by this money. So the more child support that's issued to family courts, the larger the judicial retirements. That would be the people that are like state reps, state senators, etc. There's what we're talking about, is what it would be, if not mistaken. Said it's a massive program. It's the size of the largest defense program, so the incentives are absolutely huge. Even married people, to get them to break up and then have to pay each other child support. It said because you would think the best child court would just be 50-50 custody and let people raise their kids. Best child support is to raise your own kid. That's the best child support. And then it goes on from there, basically. But yeah, it's fucked up, man. Like, it's so fucked up. Like, our country is just fucking like, I've been saying for a while, dude. And what's fucked up, actually, is you go back to, like, who's initiating a lot of these divorces and stuff. It's like 90% women at this point or something. And there's a reason why people like myself at the age of 38, almost 39 right now, are still unmarried. We're still single. We're not, married. We're not having kids is what it is right now. And it's because we're not in a situation right now where we want to be put in this fucking kind of deal where it's like, put like fucking literally like, shat on for being a man. And then, God forbid, some chick you end up with fucking wants to take your kids away from you a year or two down the road is what it is then. Or, God forbid, in a Jeff Younger case there, he thought he had a decent woman or whatever the case be. And at the age of, I want to say, his son was like 6 or 7. And the mom went all fucking nuts and was like, oh no, I'm going to turn this kid into a girl now. It's like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like, you can't win for losing, honestly, at this point. Basically, and I'm like, good for you, man. And like, maybe that's what I need to do, honestly, at this point. Go find me some cougar or something out there that's like in her 50s or some shit. Maybe even 60s for that matter. I don't know, though. My thing is, I want this is the truth, honestly, at the end of the day. I want biological children. And unfortunately, for me personally, if I found a girl my own age at 38, 39 right now, that woman's either going to be very close to infertile because of just having no eggs is what it is at all, or it'll be a situation where she may already have kids and just not want any more kids. So then I'm this weird stepdad is what it is then. And again, I have no problem with being a stepfather, but again, there's an issue of being a stepfather then is it's like, yeah, those aren't your biological children. And it's always going to be one of those situations of like, God forbid you actually do connect with these kids and try to step in there in a fatherly role and stuff like that and actually be a good dad to them and stuff like that. And then meanwhile, this bitch is all like, oh, it turns out I've been sucking Tyrone's dick for the past 8 months. Let me go leave this fucking good guy that's paying all the bills and everything and fucking take the kids with me and stuff like that. And it just leaves this guy in the fucking lurch. That's what it is, And that's the problem. That's really the problems I have entirely, dude. It's like, and I think not only just myself, but like other guys out there too, for that matter. It's like, yeah, why would we want to put ourselves in that situation to just have everything, like carpet right off from under us as it is right now? Like, there's no incentive to do that, honestly, right now, dude. There really isn't, unfortunately. And that right there is a prime example of this whole thing, where you got the fucking piece of shit court system being fucking so screwed over entirely that you're now incentivizing states to break up families, dude, because it benefits the fucking pieces of shit in the fucking governments. Like, and I've kind of said it before, honestly. I'll say it again right now, honestly, dude. Like, truthfully, the best thing we have right now is just a total fucking second American Revolution in this country. Overhaul everything completely. You know, do what founding father Ben Franklin said, which is basically every couple hundred years you need to purge the government kind of thing is what it is there. And, you know, purge the federal government, purge all the fucking state governments, and just start fresh entirely, dude. We make them much smaller, and we put in a bunch of safeguards at that time to make sure that tyranny never happens again is what it is then. And by that, I would mean legitimately the shit that our founding fathers did a couple hundred years ago would make a huge comeback. You know, high treason actually gets treated for what it is right there. You know, we go the John Schneider method is what it is there. You know, no quarter to these fucking invaders and shit coming into our country. You literally give you have the military on the damn border with no quarter orders is what it is there, et cetera, et cetera. And we treat this shit the way it needs to be fucking treated right now, dude. And we can come together as a better country after this then. Now, granted, unfortunately, I don't think that's what's going to happen is what it is, because we've been so compromised for so many decades, and so many people are just like, and I've said this many, many times, I believe truthfully, what we have in this nation right now is a bunch of feather throwers, and we don't have enough tar throwers. By that, I mean you have people that would like basically be the second person that would step up, but there's not enough people to be that first person that'll step up. Or maybe it's the opposite way, even for that matter. It might be something where you have a bunch of tar throwers, you know, people that are willing to like, you know, throw the tar and stuff like that. But then look behind them and there's nobody to throw the fucking feathers then after that, dude. And now they're just sitting there like, oh, fuck, you know? And I think that's exactly what we're seeing right now, honestly. And especially since the whole, you know, January 6th fucking bullshit fucking political prisoner crap that's been going on for the last couple of years now is what it is. So, but yeah, going back to what I was saying though earlier. So yeah, you have these scumbags right here, which is these pieces of shit from, I believe this is University of Minnesota. Professor Melanie Yazzie spells out the left's global war against the West. Quote, the goal is to dismantle the settler project that is the United States. And then she goes into more detail on that one, just her being a psychotic nutcase, dude. Which honestly makes a whole lot of sense when you literally have Minnesota's old state flag now becoming this piece of shit Somali flag. There is what it is, dude. So, yeah, and as Citizen Free Press said here, it says professors teaching this nonsense at University of Minnesota is precisely why the states scrubbed all their American flags. Exactly. And I feel like there's other people that were saying some stuff here too. Yeah, here you go. This Stu guy said reported this over a week ago. Red Nation hosted a. Okay, so this was like. I want to say that's native, but maybe I'm wrong because I feel like that's a Palestinian flag behind these people right now. Yeah, this guy said Red Nation hosted a Minnesota. Oh, here you go. From Minnesota to Palestine, teach-in and panel discussion on December 3rd. The so-called teach-in showed the ties and need for solidarity amongst the AIM, BLM, Stop Cop City, and other leftist terrorist movements. I added the leftist terrorist movements, obviously, that's what they are, dude. 2 University of Minnesota Twin Cities professors led the teach-in, which I'm guessing is these 2 stupid cunts right here is what it'll be then. Then you got these 2 other fucking morons. So, yeah, here you go. Okay, here okay, no, I guess I was wrong. One of these guys are here. This guy says, Professor Nick Estes argues that hating Palestinians and indigenous people is the default position here in the United States. U.S. and Israel only understand and are capable of, quote, genocidal projects. Jesus fucking Christ, man. We are so fucked as a nation. Like, dude, and this is what I've said before many, many times on this channel. This is what Americans are not ready for. We're going to go big picture right now, dude. This is what's about to happen in this country, by the way, in the next 6 to 10 months. There's going to be a civil war that starts sometime in 2024. That's almost a given at this point, leading up directly to the election that probably won't happen is what it is there. That will then lead to other kinds of wars that will eventually lead to an American Revolution when it's all said and done. The problem is, from start to finish, from Civil War to Revolution, it's going to be anywhere from 6 to 10 years or more. And in the meantime, what you're going to have is, you're going to have tribal warfare, you're going to have legitimate race wars in this country, where it's going to be, and I've said it before, it's not even just going to be like black on white, Asian on Latino, whatever the case be there. It's going to be people, a lot of which are from the same exact race. It'll be white right-wing people and stuff like that. They're very much patriotic in this country against like crazy white leftist bitches is what it is there, man. The Karens of the world. Or in the same vein of things, it'll be, upstanding, black dudes and their wives and stuff like that versus these fucking ghetto trash BLM terrorists is what it is, man. Et cetera, et cetera. And so forth and so on. It'll be legitimate legal Latinos in this country versus a bunch of fucking illegals for that matter. Hell, going back to the black thing, it could be, black patriot Americans against a bunch of fucking African shitholers that are jumping our fucking borders is what it is. All fighting age males and shit there. So, and so forth and so on. And then, of course, if you break it down with the Asians and stuff like that, it's going to be your, legal Koreans, Japanese, etc. here, who are now fighting all these Chinese foreign invaders now. And their fucking acre babies and shit that are on this country soil, too, for that matter. Or in a lot of cases, it'll actually just be American citizens versus DACA cops for that matter right now. We talked about that yesterday on Buckshot Thursday. Where you have these literal motherfuckers who are in the deferred action for childhood arrivals crap there, who are now being given guns and being put through the police academy to go be part of the LAPD, for God's sakes. To where you have to have the LAPD rewrite laws so that these illegal aliens who have no fucking legal business being on American soil because they're already committing multiple felonies just being here are now being handed taxpayer-funded, police-issued firearms that they're now allowing them to take home with them, even though they can't have them, because they're, like, always on duty. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck happened in this country, dude? Like, goddamn. Like, shit, man. At least back in the 90s when I didn't know anything as a kid, didn't realize how fucking much we were being infringed upon with the AWBs and shit in the early 90s and stuff, dude. At least it was a better time as me as a child there. Because at least it wasn't all this fuckery going on right now. Just old Predator Bill Clinton in the White House at the time, man. I'm not saying it was a good time for American history. Obviously, it wasn't. It was terrible. You had the piece of shit Biden create both the fucking AWB and the what the hell was that second thing called? The crime bill in 94 too, for that matter. That legitimately you had dudes going to prison for like 20, 25, 30 years on misdemeanor drug shit that broke up homes entirely on that one, dude. And then you had, 2-3 generations later now being raised by single mothers and fucking, in some cases, nobody for that matter at all. Fucking streets are basically raising these kids now. To the point where you now have just these crazy gangbanger motherfuckers, what it is, dude. So, I do find it kind of ironic, though, if you look back into the 90s and stuff like that, almost going like full Roe versus Wade was a good thing for a minute, is what it was, kind of almost deal. Even though it actually wasn't, obviously, at the end of the day, because it literally murdered, tens of millions of people at the end of the day is what it is there. But, yeah, if you actually look at what caused a lot of the decrease in criminality in this country in the 1990s, it was because you had a lot of people in the 1970s having abortions. In the 80s, too, for that matter. So these kids that would have been, 10, 15, 20 years old in the fucking hoods and stuff like that in the early 90s and shit weren't there to commit crimes, is what it is. because they were permanently snuffed out. So now, granted, it could have also been too. That might not have been all of it. Honestly, I think that was just a small part of it. For that matter, too. For that matter, I think a lot bigger part of it actually was the fact that you had people actually, knocking down on crime is what it was, and like cracking down on crime, and people actually prosecuting criminals is what it really was at the end of the day, man. And I think that's why you had a lot less crime on the streets than what it was at the time then, because you actually had criminals do lengthy ass prison sentences for that matter then, even before the '94 crime bill. So, yeah, I think that's what it really was. Honestly, we had actual tough on crime Democrats back then. The old blue dog Democrats that were actually, in a lot of cases, pro-gun back in those days. Now, of course, their stances have flipped entirely, and now it's a bunch of fucking foreign national pieces of shit like Ilhan Omar in this country, who have no fucking business whatsoever being in a position of power ever in this nation. Because you're not a fucking American citizen, you stupid fucking cunt. And your bitch ass should never be allowed in this fucking country to begin with. You fucking piece of shit child soldier. By the way, for those who don't know, that bitch's fucking father was literally a military dude. And there's actually pictures of her with a fucking gun. Because she was like a 13 or 14-year-old military soldier over in Somalia in her teenage years. Which, again, is the exact reason why she should have never been allowed in this country, dude. Because you're a literal fucking sitting terrorist on our fucking nation's soil is what it is there. So, anyway. Going back to the thing there with those pieces of shit in Minnesota, though. You have that Stu guy was talking about, that Estes guy, and then you're saying, Professor Melanie Yazzie states the only kind of death blows to colonialism and imperialism that have happened historically are because indigenous people resisted. We resist for life, period. What a fucking joke, dude. But yet you're supporting Palestine that literally kills children, dude. That literally uses kids as human shields, etc. You sick fucks. Alright, continuing on here, he said, David Gilbert Pedersen of Minnesota Workers Union and Freedom Road Socialist Organization, so the guy's a little fucking commie is what he means, compares militants storming the 3rd Precinct in Minneapolis, Minnesota to the Hamas attacks of October 7th. Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Pretty sure that 3rd Precinct in Minneapolis was the one that got burned to the ground during the 2020 fentanyl Floyd riots. After fentanyl had Floyd OD'd on the fucking drugs that it was. So this piece of shit then asked Americans to have, quote, unconditional solidarity with the resistance regardless of their tactics. And you know what we say to that, Gilbert Pedersen? Go fuck yourself, you commie fucking cunt. Eat a dick, get the fuck out of my country, you worthless piece of shit, and go the fuck back to wherever the fuck your shithole ass came from, motherfucker. We don't need you here, we don't fucking want you here. Get the fuck out, bitch. And take the rest of these little asswipes with you too, you fucking douchebag. Fucking assholes. Anyway, the Stu guy continuing on says that Melanie Yazzie states, quote, I seek to dismantle the United States. I hope to seek to dismantle the United States. Yazzie goes on to argue that you shouldn't question indigenous women because they are, quote, the most oppressed ass people in Turtle Island. Quote, Palestine is the alternate path, is what she claimed. And to this, we say to Melanie Yazzie, go fuck yourself, you stupid fucking cunt. Get the fuck out of here and go eat a bag of shit-covered dicks, bitch. Literally, pack up your fucking bags, ho, and fuck right off out of this country, you dumb cunt. We are sick and tired of your fucking bullshit. We are sick and tired of your fucking terrorist antics in this nation. And we're not going to put up with this fucking crap much longer, bitch. Which, by the way, I want to point something out. This Melanin Yazzie bitch should have already been fucking arrested and executed publicly for fucking high treason in this country, dude. Because she is openly trying to destroy the sovereignty of this fucking nation, which is the definition of high treason, and the penalty for high treason is public fucking hanging. Legitimately. The fact that this bitch is even walking free at all to push this goddamn retarded fucking nonsense in the first place, dude, is everything wrong with our fucking country currently. And I guarantee you, I fucking guarantee you, this same stupid fucking cunt Minnesota professor, man, was one of the assholes, either part of Kamala's bail funding of other fucking BLM terrorists back in 2020, or she was one of the fucking BLM terrorists being bail funded by Kamala's bullshit. Fuck this fucking cunt, dude, for real. Anyway, continuing on here, we got Jai Yates with Twin City Coalition for Justice. Coalition for Justice. Let me see. Coalition for Justice for Jamar Clark compares how Palestine and those in the streets during George Floyd riots are both victims of the same kind of oppressive tactics. Stop Cop City gets brought up as well. This is what we say to that shit, by the way. Fuck off, cunt. These, by the way, I just want to point something out right now, dude. These are the kind of motherfuckers right now. These pieces of shit on that fucking panel are going to be the little leadership ass wipes for the fucking left that start the civil war in this country, dude. You know what's going to fucking happen to these people right now? It's not going to be people like me that are going to be dealing with these assholes, dude. It's going to be a bunch of military vets, a bunch of pipe-hitting motherfuckers in this country that actually have a shitload of fucking military experience that were a whole bunch of mercenaries back in the day. They're going to murk these fuckers the fuck out is what's going to happen, dude. And that's exactly what's going to happen very soon in this country. I believe that's exactly what's going to happen, honestly. You're like, basically, here's a scenario for you right now. Straight up scenario. Straight up, you know, possibility for how civil war starts in this country. Pieces of shit like Melanie Yazin, etc. there. Minnesota dipshits there. Fucking won't shut their goddamn mouths. Keep fucking pushing fucking terrorist shit every day, man. Continue to push terrorist shit. Literally try to fucking start some shit like they did back in the 70s when you had like the original Antifa back then and stuff like that. Hijacking fucking planes and doing all kinds of other terrorist activity like that is what it is, dude. And these people are going to fuck around and find out what's going to happen, dude. They're going to try that shit and they're going to meet their own fucking fate. They're going to meet, boom, right to the fucking dome is what's going to happen there, dude. Because you're going to have a bunch of American patriots, a bunch of people who have legit military experience, who were the mercenaries overseas years ago, who are just a bunch of pissed off people sitting in their houses, literally cleaning their guns, just waiting for their fucking time to shine again is what's going to happen there, man. And that's what I'm saying. Most of these people, they're not going to be the ones like me that actually speak out against this shit, dude. They're going to be the ones just sitting there legitimately, you know, oiling down that rifle, oiling down whatever it is they have at that point. And when the time comes, they're going to know what's going to happen then, because they're going to be the ones that are going to sit there and become a lot of de facto leadership in this country for a lot of these fucking, you know, movements back against the leftist terrorism is going to be, man. They're going to be the ones that are the military generals leading the right-wing coalitions, etc. There is what's going to happen. And when that time comes, it's going to be a very, very interesting day in this country. And like I said, it could be 6 months from now. It could be 10 months from now. But if people don't understand that we're going to be seeing another set of riots this coming year, dude, you need to wake the fuck up to that fact right now. And my advice to everybody that's not a fucking leftist piece of shit, honestly, if you're some right-wing person or you're some centrist person that's unarmed right now, dude, get the fuck armed and be ready. Because these sacks of shit, they're not just going to stop with the right. They're not going to stop with the fucking whatever at that point, dude, the Proud Boys types, etc. They're going to come for the families. They're going to come for your family. They're going to come try to harm you. Shit, they've already admitted this shit 4 fucking years ago almost now, dude. When during the fucking fentanyl Floyd riots, you had these fucking douchebags legitimately saying on camera, oh, we'll just come out to the suburbs now. And then you had some Lily Antifa offshoot try to start that shit in some suburbs that people were having a party for some kids in that one day. You know what happened in the Antifa chapter that what happened there, dude? That was about 5 or 60 people. They got the fucking shit kicked out of them and almost got their fucking throat slit in a ditch. which is exactly what's going to happen to a lot of these motherfuckers now, dude. You know, and it's like Corey and I talked about yesterday, that Forever Purge shit, dude. Like, this is what we're seeing start up right now, I believe, honestly. You have basically the U.S. government that should not be right now. The Biden administration, there's a bunch of cheaters, et cetera, there. The Sherrod Browns of the world, et cetera, that have cheated their way in the U.S. Senate again. It's all the places like that is what it is. The Fettermans, the Josh Shapiro's that stole a fucking governorship over in Pennsylvania, or the Gretchen Whitmers that stole one in Michigan, et cetera, there. These are the people, these little fucking puppets of globalists like George Soros, like the Rothschild family, like the Rockefellers, et cetera, there, dude. Your Gavin Newsom types especially that are allowing this shit to facilitate into California there. They are pushing forward an agenda that is anywhere from a century to possibly 2 centuries old at this point, honestly. Really since the founding of this country is what it was. You've had these scumbag globalists, you know, pulling the fucking puppet strings in the background, et cetera, there. You know, the ancestors of Rothschilds, the ancestors of Rockefellers, et cetera. Obviously, Soros started out his path in Nazi Germany as a fucking literal Nazi collaborator is what it was there. And stole a bunch of Jewish people's wealth to amass his own fortune. We've talked about that many times on this channel. You can actually look at that yourself. He did a 6-minute interview back in, I think it was 2007 or 8, maybe it was 2006 even, someplace in there. And he was basically discussing with the anchor then about how he would literally, how he actually left. I'm trying to remember exactly where it was he was at the time, if it was Austria or where it was at. But he basically left that place because of his own status of being a Jewish guy is what it was. With his uncle, got some fucking paperwork forged, came back into the country like a year or 2 later is what it was, claimed he wasn't Jewish, and then started being a Nazi collaborator with the fucking SS, etc. under Hitler there. And he would legitimately out other Jewish people that owned farmland and everything else for that matter. Didn't really matter if it was farmland or just, you know, some high-priced apartment, whatever it was there. He would get these people arrested, get them sent to Nazi death camps, and then literally go in after the fact with a, who the hell knows if it was just a bag, empty bag or what it was, dude, but just start stealing their shit is what it was. Or forge some paperwork, whatever it was there, to have their fucking lands granted into his name is what it was then. Like he bought them, but he didn't buy shit is what it was. He just had them fucking stolen into his name is what it was there. It's just fucked up shit, man, entirely. And this is the same piece of shit, by the way, who, like, 80 years later now, is trying to literally steal our gun rights while funding pro-abortionist movements to depopulate this country of native-born Americans. And so many people are so blind to this shit, dude. It just blows my mind, honestly. Like, the fact that Soros himself and the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, all these globalist people aren't literally being marched up to a gallows right now for high crimes, high treason, crimes against humanity, etc., dude, is like, what the fuck, man? And it really does make you wonder, like, is the connected circles of just criminality and corruption that fucking bad? Like, is there just not enough white hats anymore to deal with this shit? And I think that's what it is, honestly. Is you have so many black hats out there now that have been corrupted, been compromised, etc., that there's just not enough white hats to come forward and actually just deal with this shit in one fell swoop is what it is there. Or maybe it is just a bunch of people in like so-called compromised positions that actually are white hats in disguise that are just like waiting for their time to shine. And they're just like waiting for that trigger moment is what it is then. Like I said, it all goes back to demonic evil, man. Like we are literally on the side of good, fighting against demonic evil all the way around. And these people are literal predators every way you look at it. And it's just sad. It's just sad that people are not waking up to this fact right now. It just truly infuriates me sometimes, honestly. And then you got these fucking retards being given a platform to spew hate is what it is. And by the way, I want to point something out to you for that matter. When you look back at Obama's administration that really started the BLM terrorist bullshit back in it was around 2014, I believe is what it was there. It was these same kind of fucking dumbass panels right here, dude. These fucking kind of retards. Where it was a bunch of these ass clown fucking terrorists being straight up given a hate platform at the White House by that fucking sack of shit traitor Barack Obama. And we're almost a decade later now and it's still going on. So the one thing I honestly can't stand either, by the way, is this whole land back fucking BS lie for like, oh, people stole our Native American lands and we want it back. That shit got fucking sold by your ancestors, you dickless cunts. Go fuck yourself. You never owned that land to begin with. It was literally sold by your fucking forefathers for mostly some beads and shit. You know, they most likely ended up getting what they fucking, you know, had coming to them, essentially, is what it was, which were being stupid. I also want to point this out, too, by the way, nobody ever seems to talk about. And I love the reason I bring this up is because that Melanie woman, she wants to bitch about colonizer this and colonizer that, yet never fucking once will this retarded piece of shit asshole professor admit that historically, when you actually look back into the very, very beginnings, the pre-revolutionary times of this country, back to the Puritan settlers and stuff that came here, dude. What did they find on this country's soil when Christopher Columbus discovered this nation, dude? A whole bunch of warring tribes of Native Americans where they were literally doing battle. You would have one come in, middle of the fucking night, walk up behind a bunch of dudes, fucking slit their throats, scalp their fucking heads, etc. Take their women, rape them, force them to become part of that tribe now, etc. And that shit was going on for fucking literal centuries before any white man ever set foot on this fucking country soil, dude. But yet these fuckers will never mention that shit, though, is what it is, dude. But what they will talk about is the Tecumseh War. Doesn't know what that actually is. There actually is a war that happened back in the day. It was called Tecumseh's War. It legitimately took place back in 1811 in this nation. And it was one of the guys who actually became president then, William Henry Harrison. He was president for, I believe, 30 or 31 days before he died of some kind of like flu or whatever then. That dude was a military, I forget if it was a general, exactly what it was then. He was a high position of authority, though, in the military is what it was back then. And this is all stuff that I learned from, there was a History Channel series some years ago. It was called The Men Who Built America, Frontiersmen. And it discussed Tecumseh's War in that one. It also discussed William Henry Harrison at the time. And it was talking about how Harrison actually went after Tecumseh because Tecumseh was basically trying to start shit is what it was. Like in the territories that the government was trying to go into is what it was there. That they considered to be native land at the time. And they're like, you know, the government basically gave the go ahead. It's like, yeah, do what you got to do to fucking deal with these people, man, essentially. And so William Henry Harrison, I forget under which president it was at the time, this dude went fucking scorched earth, man, on the native tribes at the time. And what he would do was he and his people that he had in the army, military, cavalry, whatever it was there, were waiting for Tecumseh and his, you know, warrior tribe guys to leave to go on their hunts for the day and stuff like that. Then they would go into these villages and fucking massacre everybody, dude. Like, there was nobody left alive after that shit. Of course, you know, looking forward here where this Melanie Yazzie woman comes in, who I can only assume was from one of these tribes that actually did survive is what it is there. That probably wasn't part of the Tecumseh War at all, if that be the case. is the one now bitching about the whole land back crap, is the one bitching about, oh, decolonize the West, et cetera, there. Why don't you decolonize these nuts, bitch? I guarantee that this woman is one of these fucking hoes, man. It's like the Ilhan Omars of the world. It's like the fucking, the Michelle Wands of the world, et cetera, there. Or I think it's Wu, actually. The Boston mayor woman. Who will sit there and be like, oh, fuck all these white people. And then they're literally getting dicked down by some white dude is what it is, man. Like, that's what it is, man. It's all hypocrisy. It's all hypocrisy from these fucking people. It's, decolonize out front, and then meanwhile it's fucking recolonizing the sheets kind of thing is what it is then, dude. So, anyway. But let's go ahead and see what they said here, though. Going back to the Stu Guy stuff, it says, Demarius Johnson of Red Nation explains how uplifting October 7th was for him. He was confused that his family was horrified by it. Said Red Nation muted his audio at 058, but it must have been horrific. He is already calling for an AIM militant wing in the USA. Oh my god, dude. So these fucking people, by the way, this is the jackass they're talking about right there, this idiot in the fucking brown top there with the little red scarf on his neck. So these fucking people are legitimately calling for American genocide is what it is, dude. Like, this is what I'm saying, bro. I, as a white guy, for saying fucking words for fucking thought crimes, get a federal swatting 4 years ago, but these motherfuckers in Minnesota who are openly calling for the genocide of white people in America, for the open fucking high treasonous acts of destroying the sovereignty of this country, aren't getting shit done against them. No fucking Fed knocks, no fucking prison time, nothing, dude. This is how fucking Looney Tune land our country's become now, dude. Where up is down, down is up. Cats are making out with dogs, squirrels are making out with foxes, etc. Anyway. Let's see, continuing on here, we got, so the Anti-War Committee also briefly spoke at this so-called teach-in. Obama's FBI actually raided their office to investigate them for material support for terrorism. They are a spin-off of the Committee in Solidarity with the People of El Salvador, which is also investigated by the feds. So see, that's the problem right there, right? So you'll have the FBI actually raid these people's places, yet they won't arrest them for fucking terrorist acts and shit like that, dude, even though they are openly calling for terrorism in this country. Like, what the fuck happened? What the fuck? Like, again, it just blows my mind. And that, again, goes back to the fact of how corrupt the FBI is, dude. Well, they'll sit there and spend a week of my life fucking with me. Actually, over that when it's all said and done, because that federal informant bitch that came days later is what it was, dude. Or potential FBI agent or whatever the fuck she was, female agent there, who basically was stalking me in the fucking card shop a few days after that then. I've told that story before, honestly. I literally walked in the card shop that Friday, and this woman walks in and just starts, like, eyeballing me for, like, 35 minutes or whatever the fuck it was before I finally was, like, looking at her like, bitch, just get the fuck out of here. I know you're a fucking Fed hoe. Like, just leave. And then she did, never saw her ass again after that. And even the shop owner confirmed, like, he never saw that woman before, never saw her again after that. So, yeah, it's just really creepy shit in general, dude. And this is the problem with the feds here in Ohio. They got nothing to do, man. Except they do have stuff to do, because if they actually were to do their fucking job, they'd be arresting a bunch of Islamic terrorists down in Columbus right now. Legitimately. That are all throwing these fucking pro-Palestine rallies every weekend is what it seems like anymore. So, anywho, let's see what we got now. Let's see, it was said, Janine Tiba discusses how, quote, Palestine is the tip of the spear for their struggle here in the on Turtle Island. Okay, where the hell is Turtle Island anyway? I feel this has to be some part of Minnesota, right? Like it's got to be like some random like settlement, maybe. Oh, okay. Turtle Island, indigenous North American folklore. Okay. Okay, so let's see what it says here for this. It says Turtle Island is the name for Earth or North America used by some indigenous peoples, as well as by some indigenous rights activists. The name is based on the creation story common to several indigenous peoples of the North American woodlands in North America. So a number of contemporary works continue to use and or tell of Turtle Island creation stories. So basically, they're just talking about Earth is what it is, or North America anyways, what would be there. So, yeah. So she's essentially talking about it being the quote-unquote spear. Shit, now I lost my place where the fuck I was at now. God damn it, where the fuck was I now? Shit. I think there's a couple up here. All right, here we go. Okay. Yeah, it said, Palestine was the spear for the struggle here in America, is what she's saying. Said Tiba states the wins in Palestine are wins for all other indigenous movements. She doesn't state what these wins are, but we know she means October 7th and the hostages taken into Gaza, etc. There. God, these people really are sick in the fucking head, man. What I find interesting too, by the way, and this kind of goes back to, like the reason I always tend to use Nazi Germany, honestly, for the analogies in a lot of these episodes and stuff, is because it's the easiest one to reference for certain things that I know about legitimately historically, whereas other stuff with like Stalin or Mao or whatever the case be, I'm not 100% sure of, because I didn't study that stuff enough. So one thing I do recall, and this is something I learned about a few years ago, is what it was now, back during, I want to say lockdowns actually is what it was. So there was actually two factions that backed Hitler initially in his rise to power there in Nazi Germany. There was the SS, and there was the predecessor, the SA, and there was an event called the Night of the Long Knives, which Night of the Long Knives, I forget what the guys' names are offhand, but basically it was people who were sort of like the, I'm trying to remember what that fat guy's name was from Game of Thrones, the unit guy, I can't remember, Viserys or something like that. It was kind of like those kind of people, basically, that were like whispering in Adolf's ear and being like, "Hey, Hitler, these guys are totally against you. We should totally wipe them out before they wipe us out," kind of thing. And yeah, you had these advisor guys doing that shit in his fucking ears, what it was. And eventually they got to him enough to where you had the event called Night of the Long Knives, where it was people that were part of the SA that was, basically the original like Nazis that backed Hitler there, were wiped the fuck out by SS is what it was, dude. And I feel like that's exactly what we're seeing here with these fucking ass clowns in Minnesota. You have all these fucking idiots that will speak on the stage there, not wanting to get their own hands dirty, but wanting others to get their hands dirty from Palestine, from Gaza, all these places like that, all these terrorist movements and shit like that. But yet they don't realize, because in many cases, a lot of the females that are part of these groups and stuff like that consider themselves to be very hardcore lesbians and stuff. Gay rights activists, LGBTQ, all stuff like that's what it is, dude. That the people that are in these Islamic terrorist groups would literally chop their fucking heads off in the streets if they ever met face to face. And what I find to be very interesting is there's been some of these things where you have the whole like Queers for Palestine and the Queers for Palestine meeting Palestine now, where it's basically, there was a video that came out there recently that said exactly that terminology is what it was. And it was this dude that had like sort of a weird like Palestinian flag around his back that was also like some pride flag or whatever the case be. And he was like talking about like Queers for Palestine this and Queers for Palestine that. And it was like some hijab wearing chick that was Palestinian walking up and it was like, "You, sir, are the scum of the earth," etc., etc. And like so many words that I can't say on camera here because I probably get booted by YouTube is what it is there. Which, by the way, just want to point out everything is said in this chat so far is locked order of freedom of speech and the First Amendment of the Constitution. Do not try to channel strike me YouTube because I will fight it. But anyway. Yeah, needless to say, though, it's just a bunch of stupid shit is what it is, dude. It's a bunch of fucking morons entirely that don't know what the fuck they're even doing here and literally just want to destroy our country from the inside out is what it is, man. And even our founders talked about that. They knew our country would never fall from outside forces. It would always be from inside of it, dude. And these are the people that are inside right now is what it is. So, anyway. Let's see, going back to the rest of this, though. Continues on here. You got this Haji-born dipshit right here named Sana Wazwaz with American Muslims for Palestine echoes a familiar line as that idiot before her, claiming history did not begin on October 7th. She argues, and it starts with, quote, the strategy to dismantle the rights of the Palestine people and assert colonial supremacy. What a fucking idiot. Going back to that Justine woman, it says, Justine reads Red Nation's speech from November 4th, Palestine March in Washington, D.C. That was quoted as, quote, we proclaim the decolonization and land back are the only forms of justice for the crimes of settler colonialism. Again, you're not getting shit back, bitch, because you never fucking owned that land, you dumb cunt. It's just like a gun buyback, dude. You can't buy back shit you never fucking own, you dumbass. At one point, yeah, technically your people might have had possession of that land. But guess what, ho? They fucking sold it out to the government long, long ago. And it's now been produced into many, many states across this country. And if you have a problem with that, go eat a bag of shit, come up with a bunch of fucking money, and buy a bunch of the fucking land back then, bitch. Instead of fucking being a goddamn retarded piece of shit, wanting a fucking free handout from fucking life, you fucking worthless piece of shit cunt. I am so fucking sick and tired of these people, man. I really fucking am. These are the fucking people that instead of actually doing something, instead of actually making something of their lives, instead of actually amassing personal wealth to make themselves a multimillionaire or billionaire, whatever the case be, where they could then sit there and throw down a ton of money to buy towns back entirely, and then eventually buy a fucking whole state pretty much is what it would be then. Instead, they just want to bitch and moan and be like, but we deserve to have this shit back even though we never fucking owned it to begin with. Just shut the fuck up, cunt. Like, seriously, we're so sick and tired of your bullshit, you fucking leftist terrorist pieces of shit. And I guarantee at least one of these fucking cockknockers is actually one of the 11 pieces of shit that was in the Minnesota board, whatever that new stupid ass Somali flag there is what it was, dude. Anyway, continuing on here. It says, Demarius Johnson shares how the youth in his life, his adolescent cousins, are being radicalized from TikTok. They have an understanding of decolonization and resistance comparable to what Johnson learned in college. That is fucking scary, dude. That shit right there is fucking scary. And we all know who owns TikTok, by the way. It's fucking China, dude. It's a Chinese spying app. Let's see. Continuing on with this, though. It says, Justine Tiba admits that she knew nothing about Palestine until getting involved with activism. Of course she fucking didn't, dude. None of them fucking do. None of them do. None of them fucking care. It's a means to an end for these fucking clown-ass bitches, dude. It's exactly what it is, honestly. It's them not actually giving a shit. It's like the same thing with the one Republican debates here recently where you had Vivek Ramaswamy calling out Nikki Haley, Chris Christie, etc., for knowing not one damn providence in Ukraine, yet wanting Americans to sit there and fucking funnel, billions and billions to trillions of fucking dollars over to this fucked up war with Russia is what it is, dude. That almost none of that money is actually going to that fucking war. It's all going into Zelensky's pocket and everybody else's pockets to go there and fund fucking yacht buys and stuff like that so they can go buy giant ass yachts and shit. It's fucking disgusting is what it is, dude. So anyway. Oh yeah, that dumbass Justine woman claims she didn't know nothing about Palestine until getting involved in activism. She was quoted as saying, everything left of center is free Palestine. This is the uniting cause we are seeing right now. Tiba shares some recent Red Nation efforts. Jesus fucking Christ. And that Justin, the Stu guy said, let's end with this. Just can't help but share this. Said David Gilbert Pedersen states the United States gives Israel $300 billion a year in 2023. Israel received $3.8 billion. So, yeah, that guy's just straight up lying sack of shit is what it is, dude. Granted, we shouldn't be giving anybody, like, I don't care if it's Israel, Palestine, Gaza, fucking Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq, Kyrgyzstan, Russia, Ukraine, any of these fucking countries, dude. Somalia, Burkina Faso, any other fucking parts of Africa, the Ivory Coast, etc. there, man. We shouldn't be giving any of these nations a fucking dime in any kind of things, dude. We shouldn't be giving Nicaragua or Venezuela or El Salvador or Guatemala or Mexico or any of them, dude. We shouldn't be giving handouts to anybody. If anything, we should be calling in all of our chips they owe us at this fucking point, dude. All in gold bars. Legitimately. And if they can't bring the gold bars, then bring the fucking silver bars. And if you can't bring the silver bars, then guess what, motherfuckers? You're going to bring our fucking jobs back to American soil to where we can start manufacturing again then. So, and I've said it before, honestly, even if we took over Mexico at this point and made that kind of a weird U.S. territory, whatever the case be, and then we just had, you know, a bunch of Mexican manufacturing where we could just bring up these people that want to come to work is what it is, man, from these other places like El Salvador, Guatemala, Venezuela, etc. there. And actually just pump out the good manufacturing that goes straight into the U.S. then. That's what we need to be doing right now, man. But yet instead, recently here, I forget exactly which steel plant it was, but it was basically the biggest steel plant in America right now, was recently sold to some fucking Japanese company. Bye-bye U.S. steel forever. Like, we are literally being gutted like a fucking fish from the inside out at this point, dude. They are literally taking katanas and disemboweling our asses Harakata style. Fucking Mortal Kombat shit, dude. It's just so infuriating, man. And then these people wonder why folks like me will never give up our fucking firearms, dude, to government or anything else for that matter. And it's because we know better. We know you fuckers are going to try and kill us is what it is, dude. No fucking chance that's happening here. Go fuck yourself. So. Man. I don't know anymore. I think we're all just kind of fucked right now. One thing I will say, going back to that thing with that we started out with that guy in Texas, there is what it was, the dentist guy who's being investigated for various, creeper shit basically at this point. And then we're talking about that particular video where he was talking about that girl getting her teeth done or whatever. This Mark guy here said, by itself, don't observe anything inappropriate from that particular video. Others shouldn't use the bitch word, is what he's saying there. And driving into social abuse aspects, which is not creepy, just not necessary. Family was in the room the whole time. Dude was also paying for services he is not providing, which is exactly true at that point. It wasn't him doing the dentistry is what it was, man. It was him being like, yeah, I don't have the tools here capable of doing this shit. I'm going to send you to another dentist. Here's the money for it is what it is then. So, I don't know. Like I said, we'll see if anything actually comes of that or not. I don't know if it will or not, but I just find it very interesting is what it is, man. And I think, unfortunately, again, some people will spend their time on shit like that, but yet, meanwhile, you have all these outside forces coming into this country right now and just trying to destroy us. What it is, man. And that's the problem, right? Like I feel like in this case, it's almost like them act sort of like the acting locally, but not really. Versus, you have like local threats. Like, okay, so like here's my thing, right? I have no problem with them getting some predator off the street. Let's point out that one, number one. The issue I have in the situation is how many more predators are walking through an open southern border that is also in the state of Texas at the same fucking time every single day, man. And yet, meanwhile, we're just going to focus on one guy here. You're not going to focus on these 20 dudes that were deported like 10 times already, that are now going to go on rape sprees and fucking, you know, mass murder sprees, etc. in the future. Or doing like gangbanger shit or whatever the case be there. Like, it blows me away, man. It really does. And that's the problem with some people. They'll focus far too much on one thing instead of like broad brushing that shit. Where it's like, nah, man, there's a much broader brush here that needs to be fucking dealt with. You know, it's not just taking like a fucking, you know, like your little paintbrush and like sticking a couple fucking things on the canvas and like painting a little bit here, dude. It's literally taking a fucking paint bucket and throwing it on the fucking wall and letting the shit drip around a little bit and then fucking, you know, taking a big old brush and like painting the whole damn thing is what it is then. And that's where I'm at right now, is that secondary part where we need to be painting the fucking wall right now, not painting not painting a little fucking canvas with a teeny little brush is what it is, man. Like, meanwhile, you're over here doing that shit, and I'm over here doing this shit. And it's like, who's going to do better is what it is at the end of the day, dude. Like, yeah, you might be able to stop one, but I'm over here trying to stop like 20 is what it is, man. So, I don't know. I'm just so sick of all of it, man. And like I said, I'm just honestly, because it's already 4 a.m. right now here in Ohio. And I'm to the point right now of like, I just feel like I'm going to go to sleep one of these mornings, like 3, 4, 5 a.m., whatever it's going to be. A few hours later, I get woken up by like some rumble because it's like the fucking ground is like quaking or whatever. And it turns out we're just being invaded in a fucking war now, dude. And I got to literally like throw on a pair of pants real quick, grab my fucking kit and shit, and get to fucking work. That's what it's going to be. And who knows who's going to be the fucking, you know, friendlies, who's going to be the fucking enemies at that point. Now, granted, thankfully, I live in a place in this area right now where if something like that ever does pop off, I know exactly who I can trust that's around me right now. Like, legitimately, this neighborhood is what it is, more or less. That would actually come together and be like, okay, what's going on here? And you would have, like, local fucking, technically, authorities at that point. Some of which live on my road. Particularly, there's a guy up the street that's an actual sheriff's deputy. And there might be a second one actually up further, though. But I know there's at least one down in this area is what it is. Like a few houses up there is what it is then. And, yeah, like my thing would be, like my go-to would be like, hey, dude, what's going on? Like, what are we doing right now? Kind of thing with that dude. And then it would be, you know, meeting up with other people in other areas locally to me that within like a few miles it would be then. That I know for a fact have like military experience and shit like that, and be like, you know, what's the plan, guys? Kind of thing is what it is there. And then sort of, you know, be like a sit and wait kind of deal after that is what it'll be then. So, but yeah, I just don't see things happening good in this country in the next 6 months to a year, honestly. I think we're going to a downfall right now. And I think far too many people are just blind to it, whether it be willfully blind, willfully ignorant to it, or whether it just be they sort of see it coming, but just want to bury their fucking heads in the sand because they don't want it to actually become true is what it is. And I'm just going to point this out myself personally. I don't want to see this shit come to fruition, dude. I really don't. Optimistically, I would love to just see our country come back together, reunify and stuff like that, but it's never going to happen. it's never going to fucking happen where you have a bunch of pieces of shit like we just talked about for the last hour now walking free on this country's soil, who are literally the ones that are going to start something in this fucking country that kicks off a goddamn civil war. With just their rhetoric, with just their retarded fucking terrorist antics, etc. There, dude, is what it is. Like, even these people doing that so-called teaching right there, dude, everything that they discussed at that teaching was them teaching terrorism to the fucking entire crowd. Like, that whole place, man. I was watching the recent South Park special the other day that was like, I forget what it was called or whatever, but it was basically like some sports drink called Cred in it. And then you had Randy Marsh doing like OnlyFans shit, and then it was essentially him getting busted on like a bunch of child porn charges, more or less, because he was like targeting kids and shit with his content. And it was interesting because he was in a room at the time with like a bunch of other people, and you got a bunch of feds busting there, like bust his ass what it was there. And like, that's the kind of shit that should be happening to these fucking things, dude. Like, they should have these fucking like ballroom talks or whatever there in these Minnesota place, the Minnesota University place there and whatever, dude. And immediately while they're saying this shit, bang, fucking doors get kicked in. A bunch of feds with fucking full auto and shit like that come rolling up there and start arresting everybody on fucking stage and everybody in the fucking crowd, dude. On terrorist shit then. And that's how you shut this shit down immediately, dude, and you keep this fucking country together. But no, these fuckers are so compromised, these Fed boys are so goddamn compromised, etc., dude, that they would rather sit there and either facilitate these fucking shit to happen or just sit back, fucking hands up, and be like, oh no, we'd rather fuck with that guy in Ohio again because he's saying stuff on the internet that we don't like to hear. Fuck you, is what I'll say to that one, dude. And by the way, I'm going to point this out right now. I'm going to say that I'm going to make this fucking record on camera right now, dude. If I ever get the fucking feds knocking on my door again, I'm calling the cops immediately, dude, to have their asses arrested for fucking terrorizing my ass at that point. Which it should never happen again, obviously. But the entire point is, it's like, yeah, you're trespassing on private property, motherfuckers. And I have no problem calling the fucking county sheriff on your ass to arrest your fucking asses for trespassing and a bunch of other fucking criminal acts then. So, get fucked, Timmy and his partner. Anyway. Fuck was I at now? I don't even know anymore. Yeah, got all off track on that last little piece there. But no, seriously, like, I have no problem going on record on that shit, dude. I plan that. That's my whole plan right now is fucking call the cops on these assholes if they ever show up at my house again. Because again, they would just be fucking threatening me with nothing, dude. It's the exact same bullshit they pulled in 2019 with my ass then. Where they knew they had fucking nothing on me, but yet they were trying to get me to self-incriminate to some bullshit. So they can then turn me into one of their little fucking fruitcake ass informants is what it is there, man. And have me out there dressed up like one of these fucking idiots that call themselves Patriot Front or Blood Tribe, or whatever the fuck the case be now is, whatever their fucking flavor of the month is there. So, fuck that shit. Y'all had nothing on me, y'all got nothing on me, dude. Fuck you. Anyway. That being said, hopefully I'll still have a YouTube channel sometime tomorrow is what it is. And that'll be active, obviously, because hopefully I won't get a strike card this chat or whatever the case be. I shouldn't, honestly. Again, fair use, YouTube, freedom of speech, YouTube. But yeah, as long as I still have a channel about 12 hours from now, give or take, maybe 13 or so, around 5 o'clock, probably tomorrow afternoon is what it'll be. We will do next episode of Freedom Friday, where we will talk about a couple different things. I'm going to do a review of the new flashlight, actually, during that episode, which I tried out last night. And it's funny because I was talking to Corey about the illumination on that thing. And I was talking to people last night in Discord about that one. And, of course, China lies their asses off, too, with their products there. They were trying to claim that thing was 250,000 lumens, yet the most powerful flashlight on the U.S. market right now is only 120,000. So Yeah, we assume honestly it was probably somewhere between like 2,500 and maybe 25,000, which I think was probably closer to 2,500. Honestly, if that'd be the case, then like I said, whatever the illumination of a big old spotlight it would be, like we just walked to the big old spotlight and like flicked on the big old spotlight. That's pretty much illumination of this flashlight is what it is, which is not bad. Like I went outside and tested it, and walked out the back door, and the car's about 10 feet away from the back door. Honestly, there in the driveway, lit up the car, and it lit up the entirety of the car. Then so. And that's exactly what I wanted to do, honestly. I wanted to be powerful enough to do something like that is what it was. So in case anybody ever is fucking around with our car, trying to steal a catalytic converter off of it or whatever the case be in the future, or just fucking around our property and stuff like that, like trespassing on our property, then I could just literally go out there and be like, hey, catch them in the act and stuff like that. And of course, I'd be armed at the time. And then, yeah, have the phone in my hand to call the cops, and is what it would be. And, call the cop, or I don't know if technically I'm not sure if I have that phone in my hand. I probably have the phone. I'd actually probably have the phone in my pocket, ready to dial, and then put on speakerphone or whatever the case be, and then use that shit as almost like a then, call the cops off of that one, and then have the flashlight in one hand, have my firearm in the other would be then. So, and if I could find some kind of attachment that I could actually put this light to the bottom of my gun, like the rail or whatever the case be, that'd be even better, honestly, because then I could actually have the phone in one hand and the flashlight / gun in the other would be then. So, but so far I haven't been able to find any kind of clip or anything like that. But I'll look into it though. Maybe something for my birthday next year or something like that would be like a clamp or something like that I can put on there as like a Picatinny rail kind of clamp or something then, and then just hook in that flashlight to it somehow or whatever the case be then. So, anyway, either way, it is what it is. But it's pretty much it for the day, though. Like I said, though, I'll be back here in about 13 hours, give or take, and we'll discuss that as one of the things for the day. We'll also discuss a few other things for the day. Like I said, we've already kind of discussed the update to the Columbus story there, which is that you had an armed citizen actually intervene in that situation with the 3 minority kids that beat Donnie Smith to death. But, of course, poor Donnie, it was too late for him by the time that person intervened is what it was. So, and had Mr. Smith actually had a gun himself, he probably would still be alive today, which unfortunately he did not. And again, this is just another example of exactly why you need to be carrying here in America in 2023, because you never know who's going to want to kill you, man, and for what reason. Even as these piece of shit decolonizer motherfuckers over there in Minnesota, calling for that genocide stuff, dude, it's like right there. Like they're openly committing terrorism and stuff like that on U.S. soil, not being dealt with multiple decades in prison just for that shit alone right now. And because of that, their rhetoric is being, pushed and facilitated more and more and more. It's like the same exact shit with that piece of shit Tim Ryan last year. That dude is a sitting congressman, literally called for the murder of Trump supporters and wasn't immediately arrested on a federal fucking level, removed from Congress, removed from the U.S. Senate race he was in against J.D. Vance at the time, and charged with a fuck ton of felonies and never saw the light of day again because he's going to be in federal prison the rest of his fucking worthless ass life. But no, instead he was able to fucking finish out his term in Congress, fail to get in the U.S. Senate, thank God. And there's now possible talk of his bitch ass trying to run for governor here in 2026. And it's like, fuck that shit, dude. No. It's time for the good people, the good fucking law enforcement that still exists in this country to step up and do their fucking job and start arresting these fucking cocksuckers on the crimes they're committing right now, dude, on the left. And put them in prison where they fucking belong for the rest of their worthless ass lives, is what it is, dude. And be done with it. And it's as simple as that shit. And that's how we get better off as a country right now. That's how we don't fucking fracture and fall apart as a nation right now, dude. That's how we don't become the divided states of America, honestly. And it's literally as simple as that, honestly. So, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'll see you again later today for Freedom Friday. Until later, always be carrying one in the chamber. Always be armed, period. Never, never allow yourself to be put in a situation where you have multiple attackers and cannot deal with them in a stand your ground situation.
because you are always going to lose that fight. Your life is more important than their lives, and it's as simple as that, really. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you all on the next one later.